Hey guys, welcome to the shop. So, long story short, this is a pretty anticlimactic video. As it turns out, these are M14 by 1.25, which is within a couple thousandths of my estimated measurements. You can look up if you're really interested online compared to my last video. This is an M14 by 1.25 tap, and threads right in. So no exciting single point thread cutting videos, guys. This is the boring bar. This is left over from whatever I was using it for previously. I chipped my tool at the end, but it's still going to work for the application. It doesn't need to be pretty. And you just have these interchangeable heads. It gets a little tight at the end. I think these were cut with a tap, but I've actually got a few of these, and what I realized on the first one I grabbed out of the box, you can barely see made in Germany now that I cleaned it up with a wire wheel, but that's what made me think it was a metric thread. So the method was right, but I was still kind of wrong with what I thought it was. I assumed, given the age and where I got it, it was most likely a standard thread and just proprietary. So that's something to bear in mind. If you see something made in Europe, Japan, basically anywhere but the USA, and you run into an issue like this, it's a good idea to just think, maybe it's metric. And I caught this looking at Machinery's handbook, because it's just, this didn't work out to be any decimal fraction. It was like 553 over 1,000, and that's not right. You will occasionally see threads in 64ths of an inch, but not that often, and that was really the dead giveaway. It was probably metric. Now, I will do another screw cutting video, and I can do a longer form video on the math for measuring over wires, which is what I was going to do for this, but that's a little bit chewy, I think, for the casual viewer. The math over wires, there's a couple formulas in Machinery's handbook. I tend to use the simplified ones just because of the level of precision I work to. It will get you to a 1A or 2A fit if you're really careful and you do everything right, but you still got to do everything right and be really careful. So sneak up on it. Now, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you did enjoy this and have a giggle, but these thread-on boring bars are pretty cool. I like the helix, where they're easy to sharpen. I think the body on them is high-speed steel, but actually, I can show you what this boring bar is made out of. It is made out of a grade 10 suspension bolt. Now, I had turned this down for a punch, and I don't have anything else in the shop that's reasonably stiff, so I did want to make it out of like 4340, I think is what these are. So I do have some rigidity, but what I'm thinking of doing is, since I don't bore deep holes that often, I might sleeve this with just like a lead donut, basically, and make a dampened boring bar. Or I can take a piece of steel and sleeve it to 1 inch, so if I have to do a deeper hole than this, because this is 3/4 here, this is as far in as you can go, so you're only boring, let me get a rule out, you're only really able to bore a 4-inch deep or 5-inch deep hole with this realistically. I think what is interesting is it looks like these are set up to cut on the pull stroke instead of going in, as compared to most boring bars, which I actually really like if you're doing a blind hole. I mean, unfortunately, you will get a chamfer here, but I think that's typically not an issue. In my experience, I know there are situations where you really do need a perfectly flat bottomed hole, and you'll need a boring bar. Where is it? I have it in here, with a form factor more like this, where this is the extreme edge of where you're cutting, or a bar like this. I mean, this is my preferred insert style of boring bar. I believe this is actually carbide from the weight of it. It's quite a beefy bar. Now, I will need to buy more inserts for this, but this is a very rigid for the size. You know, you also get goofy stuff like this. So this is more of an for undercutting. So this would be for cutting a groove in something. This deflects visibly when you try to cut with it. You really can't take more than a 2-inch cut with this before it just becomes a wet noodle. But it's a good tool to have in the toolbox. Now I've got a couple more of these little projects and tool making jobs coming. I'll try to do something like this every week is the goal, maybe twice a week depending on how busy the shop is. And I think I ordered a holder for this off eBay because it was like $14. I couldn't say no. So that was really the impetus for this project. And when that shows up, I'll demonstrate the use of this. I've got a couple of just things like this. This is a cast iron flange, and this bar will barely fit in there. So I think this might be a good just bore project just to demonstrate how it works. So thanks for watching, guys. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's been awesome doing the interaction, and really I'm just pleasantly surprised at the channel growth. So again, thanks for watching and supporting.